for space to know the city. Trust. Everyone has a definition of what travel means to them. But if I'm leaving my comfort space to know the city, trust me, I'm seeing everything. If we haven't met before, bonjour, my name is IJ and I'd love to take you on my shenanigans. Although I said traveling solo in 2023, this has been my first documented solo trip. Yeah, a round of applause for me. When I visit a new city, trust me, I really want to be in it. I want to see the attractions, I'm strolling the city, I'm booking activities. I don't just want to be in the city, I want to feel it. And if you're wondering why I don't narrate my videos in real time, it's because I love to enjoy the moment. So bear with me. So for this trip, I took a 3-day solo trip to Rome, and my journey started from Marseille, France, with a night train from France to Roma Termini. I used the train Italia. I hope I pronounced it correctly. And Italy is an Italian train company that shuttles between France and Italy, I think during the summers. So I think they launched their first schedule from France last summer, and hopefully I do hope it continues regularly. According to the train company, they will operate from France every summer, I think from June till about the end of August. So for my trip, it was a 16-hour train ride from Marseille, France to Roma Termini station in Italy. And the train literally passes through the cities in the south of France, and the view was immaculate. It was breathtaking, and you can even see those beaches and yas for my train ride. Personally, I would say that Train Italia actually outdid themselves. My cabin was shared by me and another woman, and the beds or the sleeper chairs, if I don't know what we call it, they were actually very comfy. So the train company gave us blankets, they gave us pillows, a toiletry bag. Basically, the train had everything that we needed, including a restaurant that served breakfast and dinner. So I would say that it was pretty comfortable for a night train. But on a price scale, I would say that they were a bit pricey. They cost more than the budget airlines like Ryanair for a one-way trip. But personally, just for the experience, if you want to have that road trip experience, you can use them for next season. Anyhow, we got to Roma Termini train station by 7:15 a.m. in the morning, and it was kind of tricky to get myself out of the train station for about 10 minutes. Once I was out of the train station, I went straight to my hotel, and thankfully, it was just about 10 minutes from the station, but still in a quiet area. As usual, in European standard, my room wasn't ready that early, but they had bathrooms that I could use. So I requested for bathrooms to use, and I took a quick shower, left my luggage at the hotel, and went straight to my first itinerary of the day, which is the Trevi Fountain. And officially, this is the one of my trip. So the fountain was about a 20-minute walk from my hotel, but by this time it was 8 a.m. by the time I was on freshening up, so I had to call an Uber to the hotel. So by 8:30 a.m., I was at the Trevi Fountain, and all I could ask was, did these people even sleep at all? Sure, there were people at the fountain, but it looked like the crowd, like they came very early in the morning, let's say by 6 a.m. or so. So, but thankfully, I could see the fountain. There wasn't much people, so I could navigate to see the fountain. And I also asked a nice lady to take my pictures. I spent a few minutes at the fountain, and by the time I was done, I think the crowd had just doubled by 9 a.m. So I had to wiggle my way out of the crowd. So I'd advise that if you're planning to visit the Trevi Fountain, please be here before 8 a.m. else you won't even see the water. So another thing to bear in mind is that there are cleaning days for the fountain. I think it's between Monday and Friday mornings, and there are times where they will have to empty the water to scoop out the coins or probably clean the fountain. And on these days, there isn't really no need to see the fountain on this date because there will be no water. So I advise that when you're planning your trip, you should plan your trip according to these days or according to the days outside these days. From the Trevi Fountain, I walked about 5 minutes to Piazza Colonna, but lo and behold, I think there was some sort of construction going on. So since I wasn't impressed, I continued I continued my way towards the Pantheon and I spent a long time here. Not outside though, but like just inside the Pantheon. But along the line, I found these cute charm bracelets from these souvenir stores. They were around the city, and I think they cost me about €5 each. I can't remember, but they were cute, so I decided to get one. By 10 a.m., I was at the Pantheon, and but that crowd outside was quite discouraging at first. But by the time I joined the queue, I was inside the Pantheon in less than 10 minutes. I found out that they had two queues, one for those who already had the tickets and those who didn't have tickets, which means they were looking to buy their tickets at the church. So since I had no ticket, I had to join the second queue and I paid €5 for my ticket. And oh, please don't forget to take your scarf if your shoulders are open or dress appropriately for the Pantheon because, yeah, I noticed some Asians had to cover their sleeves, and thankfully, I wasn't asked to cover my shoulders, but you need to bear that in mind when you're visiting the churches in Rome. So, the Pantheon is quite smaller than expected, like inside, based on the way it looks from the outside. But I could say that no matter the size, I think there was really a lot to see inside. But to me, the most interesting part to see in this church, for me personally, is the crown of thorns. I think there is a big one and the small one. The small one kind of sits on a something like an altar. I don't know how to describe it. On a higher slab, while the big one is the one you see in the middle of the church on the floor. And you also find the tomb of Victoria Emmanuel II and Raphael inside the church. And by the time I was done at the Pantheon, I was on my way to see Piazza Navona. And the square was surprisingly big with another fountain on the other end of the square. And there was a church in front of the fountain, which is the Church of St. Agnes. So I found this restaurant just in front of the fountain. And because I couldn't just go outside to find another one, so I had to sit down for lunch at this restaurant. Now, let me tell you something. Naturally, I'm one of those travelers who avoid eating around a tourist attraction both for the hype and for the price. It's not just my thing when I travel. I avoid these places. But I really need to eat something. And I found this meal staff at the entrance and he was very kind and funny to me. So I decided to sit down for a plate of lasagna bolognese. And once I was done with lunch and the rest for about 10 minutes, I decided to explore the church that was just in front of it. And honestly, I didn't expect what I saw. And those ceilings were beautiful. The church was even bigger than I imagined. The dome was beautiful. And there was this piano song that was literally playing in the background. So when I was done from St. Agnes, I walked for some time to Piazza di Spagna. That's the area where you find the Spanish stairs, the little fountain, and also the column of Conception. So on my way to the Spanish stairs, I think the area is like a high-end shopping center because, as you can see, there was Prada, Maximara, and there were other very high-end brands on this street. So I think it's like a luxury shopping center. And I think this was about 3 p.m. or thereabouts. And as you can see, there was like a pretty crowd like around the Spanish stairs, but the crowd was bearable. And you can pretty much explore this area without feeling overcrowded. So since I still had the energy there to, you know what, let me climb the stairs and see. So, but I must warn you, you're glued to not forget it. The funny thing is that the stairs are not even that steep, but by the time you get to the top, trust me, your lungs will cry. So when I got to the top of the stairs, I found this little cute church. I think it's called Trinita dei Monti. But there wasn't much to see when I went inside. So I just briefly looked inside the church and I left. And then I came out outside the church, the top. That's where you could see like an aerial view of the Spanish stairs. And from this height, you could literally also see like half of the city very well. And once I was done with the Spanish test, I think it was about 4 p.m. and I was exhausted from all the walking and exploring. So to save my energy, I bought lunch and enjoyed a plate of pen pasta on the rooftop of my hotel. So it's another day, another itinerary, and this is day 2 of my 3-day solo trip to Rome. So for today, I plan to see the Chiesa de Loyola. I don't know if I pronounced it correctly. The Corina Square and Palace, Basilica Santa Maria Maggiore. I don't know if I'm correct too, and the Borghese Gallery. And I hope my pronunciation is correct for all this. So the 2 churches I plan to see today are quite big. And I was on my way to Chiesa de Loyola Catholic Church when I found this small church at the intersection. And I was like, you know what am I here for? So of course I went in and I saw the church, but there wasn't much to see here. So I left and I continued my walk. And in about 10 minutes, I was at Chiesa di Sant'Ignazio Catholic Church. And the entry is free, by the way. So I realized I made a mistake on my second day. So St. Ignazio Catholic Church is actually just a few minutes away from the Pantheon, and Basilica Santa Maria Minerva is actually just behind the Pantheon. But I missed this too. I usually plan my itinerary according to clusters because it's easier for me that way. But somehow I think I missed these 2 churches, so we'll see them later in the video. But using my experience, I created a detailed itinerary for Rome and I arranged these attractions in clusters for my readers. So I have the full itinerary on my blog and you should do well to check that out before you visit Rome. So the church was quite big and quiet, and the church is actually popular for its ceiling. So when you visit the church also, you know, like what you see on the TikTok videos, like the mirrors. So don't forget to keep a selfie with the mirror. Actually, selfie with the mirror is actually free. But if you wish to use a light, there's a ring light that comes with the mirror. If you wish to use that ring light, I think you pay €2. But for me, I felt like it wasn't necessary at that point because of the lighting. I didn't want it to mess up the lighting, but you can use that. After resting my feet for about 10 minutes at the church, I walked to Piazza di Quirinal, where you will find the Quirinal Palace, which is the Italian president's official residence. And there wasn't much to see here too, of course, because no access to the palace. So I just took some photos and headed to Basilica Santa Maria Maguire. But on my way, I also stopped to get some gelato because, of course, I'm in Rome. I have to eat some gelato. So I had so many flavors of gelato on this trip, trust me. And at the time, I thought I smelled like pistachio and tiramisu gelato. But finally, I got to the basilica and I had to walk through this maze of barricades to get to the security point. Once I was done with the security, I walked inside, and of course, I didn't have a scarf on my shoulder since I was wearing like an armless dress. So this lady directed me to take a scarf from the basket, and it's free, by the way. So once I got inside the church, I found a long queue on my left. And when I asked around, they said it was a queue to pay respects to Pope Francis, who died in April of 2025. So the Basilica Santa Maria Church houses the tomb of Pope Francis. So don't forget to pay your respects when you visit, and the entrance into the church is also very free. I noticed that there were small chapels inside the church, and each one had a unique feature to it. And also there was a small souvenir shop inside the church where sold some Catholic paraphernalia and all that. And there was also a back terrace or something like that just outside the church. But personally, I would say that there was actually a lot to see inside the church. The church was quite big, and I also found a small chapel that was also called the Sistine Chapel, and it was magnificent. Sorry, it was like a floor-to-ceiling fresco decoration on the walls and everything. But I would say that the small Sistine Chapel inside the church is actually very beautiful. So before I came to Rome, I remember a creator on TikTok shared the location of a store where she got a customized charm bracelet. So I found the store. The store is called Paolina Roma. So this is not a sponsored post at all, but personally, I wanted to build a charm necklace for myself. So I found Paolina Roma, and if you're close to the Colosseum or just the church of Santa Maria Maguire, is about just a 10-minute walk. So you just use your map and you walk down the street and you find the store. So I wanted a gold and silver charm bracelet for myself. So I picked my charms, and one of the assistants assembled it for me. I even added a small Italian flag charm to my bracelet, and it was so cute. I took a short bus ride to Boogie's Gallery and Park, but the art gallery was closed. I don't know why, because I looked around and I found out there was some sort of constructions going on around the park. So the park also looked deserted and very quiet. There wasn't much to see here anyway, but I just took a 30-minute rest here and cooled down a bit from the heat. And after 2 more cones of gelato, I decided, you know what, I was done for the day. So it's another day. Today will be simple because I only have three places in mind: the monument of Victoria Emmanuel II, the Roman ruins and everything in it, and as well as the Colosseum. So this worked for me because these three are kind of like clustered in one area, so it was just easy for me to hop from one attraction to the other. So I started with Victoria Emmanuel II's monument, and the place is quite huge. You see these stairs, you will feel them in your glutes when you climb them. So I finally got to the top of the monument, and basically the monument is designed for you to explore it from top to bottom until you get to the exit. So once I got down to the exit, I turned around behind towards the Roman ruins. And basically, the Colosseum and the Roman ruins are just behind the Vittorio Emanuel's monument based on my direction. So I noticed that some people could come from the Colosseum and walk down to the Roman ruins and then to Vittorio Emanuel's monument. But for me, I started from his monument, so it was easy for me to just walk down. The best views of the Caesars Forum is better from the street angle because it allows you to see the ruins properly from the top. So I found this street that was just behind Victoria Emanuel's monument, and I followed it towards the end. At first, it felt like I was lost, but I said, you know what, let me just persevere and find it to the end. And that street gave me the best views of Caesar's Forum for free. So when I got to the end, I found myself at the Arc of Septimus Severus, and this arc is actually quite huge. And then I also continued on the street towards the back, and I found a better view of the ruins, the arc, and the remains of the Temple of Venus. And from there, you could even see the Palatine Hill from this point. And the great thing about this area is that it wasn't even crowded. The funny thing is, I just wandered through that street by instincts. So I mean, this was almost 3 p.m. and you can see that there was like very few people. So I could tell that this place was really secluded. When I was done with pictures and recording, I walked back in the direction that I came from, and I started walking in the direction of the Colosseum. And also, just along the street, you also see more of the ruins of the Caesars Forum, as well as these information plaques on the barrier. And when I walked further down the street, I saw other ruins too, and what looked like the remains of an old church. I'm not sure. So I took some time at the Colosseum, and since I was tired at this point to see inside, I just walked around the forum, took some pictures, and retired for the day. But you know what? This baby girl has to eat. So I stopped at Floyo's restaurant close to my hotel, and I had a bowl of bucatini pasta. Actually, for this solo trip, I spent 4 days in Rome. But for my 4th day, I took a solo day trip to Vatican City. And if you need a detailed itinerary of what to see and do in Rome and how to navigate attractions by clusters, I shared everything on my blog, and the link is in the description. And trust me, I can't wait to see you in my next video. Everyone has a definition of what travel means to them. But if I'm leaving my comfort space to another city, trust me, I'm seeing everything. If we haven't met before, bonjour, my name is IJ and I'd love to take you on my shenanigans. Although I said traveling solo in 2023, this will be my first documented solo trip. Yeah, a round of applause for me. When I visit a new